On my honor, I will do my best. To do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the God law. Help me love you at all times. Keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
Welcome to Camp Pellissippi. My name's Pete Carter. I'm a member of Troop 46 in Knoxville, Tennessee. This was really a big adventure for a young troop like ours, simply because we were more of a rural troop back then. We were kind of out in the country. We weren't a city troop. And this was a big step for us. It was the first time our troop had ever gone to summer camp.
We went to Camp Pellissippi, but then we also went to Camp Buck Tom.
Yeah, we went to Buck Tom's. Yeah, I went, I guess every year I could.
Favorite year summer camp's got to be this last one because I took my two favorite merit badges so far, which is shotgun and wilderness survival.
I liked the water sports merit badge. It's fun. You got to ski, have a good time.
At summer camp this year, I got to hang around with my patrol a lot, doing anything, basically summer camp. My entire patrol did Thief Neck Pirates, so hanging around with them, doing all that stuff, that was probably the most fun I've had.
We stayed in the campsite Old Hickory, number 16.
We always stayed down at that campsite down by the lake. It was out on the peninsula.
But it was tough. We enjoyed it. You were out in the middle of the woods, and they used to tell us stories about wild dogs out there, the rabies and stuff like that. So at night, you'd always stay in your campsite.
And so finally I said, okay, everybody line up. We're going to jog up to the top of the hill, which is about 3/4 of a mile away, and jog back down. We got back, and there was hardly any noise in the camp.
Of course, the food was never tremendously good.
I don't really remember camp food, so it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad either.
We always had good food. You didn't like being a KP. Your first adventure to KP was something you never forget. But the great thing about here was being for the first campfires, because the campfire site is overlooking the river. It was always peaceful and quiet, and it was just one of those kind of a spiritual places to be.
My most memorable camp out is the Mishkamokwa Trail that's up in Kentucky, and that was a doozy right there. We actually went to go to the trail we're called Massacre Trail. We drove all the way up there, and it was closed for reconstruction, new trail markings, stuff like that. This thing was 22 miles. We only went prepared for an 11-mile hike.
We did it was about a 3-day backpacking trip on some of the sister trails in the Appalachian, and that was probably my favorite trip. It was a little bit more physically demanding than, a 13 or 14-year-old kid was probably used to, so that was really the first time I felt like I was ever challenged in any way.
We went from Cades Cove to Fontana, and that night up on top of the mountain, it got up, it was about 18 inches when we started out the next morning.
We went backpacking once a month, no matter what the weather was. In fact, we started at Springer Mountain, going up the Appalachian Trail and making a section of the Appalachian Trail on every backpacking trip. Other aspect was our sailing trips in the summer. I would take 5 or 6 of the senior boys on a sailing trip. We made one, we rented a 36-foot sailboat up in Maine and sailed for a week. None of them had ever sailed before, but after day 1 or 2, they were all doing the sailing themselves. So I didn't have to do any of it. We were in Maine, and I knew the water up in Maine was very cold. And they all wanted to take a swim, so I said, fine, get your swimming suits on. Now line up on the side of the boat. When I count 3, jump in the water. And so all 5 or 6 of them jumped in the water. Well, there was only one outlet, and they quickly found out how cold the water was in Maine. And there was a real hustle to get up that single ladder to get back on the boat.
There was a group of us, of course, you always got the faster hikers and stuff. A bunch of us got to the campsite before everybody else. We had already started getting our camp together, big fire going. All of our stuff was cooking. A bunch of us went back and started carrying the younger ones' backpacks up because they were just dragging.
Just the challenge itself can be enjoyable, and it was, I remember being very sore for several days after that and thinking, man, what a great trip that was.
I'm grateful to be in East Tennessee that had leaders that would take time to do that for us. It was a great thing.
Help out everybody you can. Lead the way for them to come in and you know, take over the younger ones. So they're, you know, teaching us to be leaders. So we want to teach the younger ones how to be leaders to come in once we've learned that from our scoutmasters.
Had some leaders, Mr. Carter, Mr. Wingard.
My dad's name was Pete Carter, same as mine. He was a scoutmaster for 25 years. Then when our scoutmaster, Sid Kent, was transferred to Nashville, he worked for the state of Tennessee and he was transferred. My dad stepped up as an interim scoutmaster until they found somebody permanent.
Well, I want to thank this troop and everybody that's involved in it. And the boys that served with me, because they helped me probably more than I helped them.
I'd really, one of the things that I would like to really thank is all the spouses who donated their husbands and wives to Troop 46.
So I think the leaders that we have showed us those things. At time did not understand it, but very grateful they took the time to take us hiking, to put us in the back of their car, to drive us 4 hours someplace down in Georgia and listen to a bunch of boys in the back screaming and hollering and, you know, going crazy and still put up with us and walk us 20 miles and drive us back home. It was a great thing, and I'm most appreciative of them for taking that time to do that for us.
If my dad had a legacy, it would be the character of the young men who he touched, especially through scouting, because he felt like that scouting was the best thing for any young man, regardless of his race, religion, whatever. I know one of my dad's final thoughts before he passed always expressed an interest that he wanted to go into eternity with his scout uniform on. That was a wish that was granted for him. Kind of a lasting tribute to him was that that's the way he wanted to be remembered. If that was your last thought of him, that's the way he wanted you to remember him, as Pete Carter, Scoutmaster of Troop 46.
Enjoyed is working with the senior place and arranging our programs so that they could run through.
They helped me probably more than I helped them.
It isn't a memory so much as memories, but it was card games on trips. It's when I realized that I really just enjoyed spending time with the people in my troop.
It was a lot of fun for me. I really loved Troop 46. Really still value that experience, and I feel lucky that I had it.
We used to sell Christmas trees, and that was our fundraiser. And even though it was sometimes, you know, you didn't like to go down there to do it, but it was fun when we get down there because it's cold and we just had to, you know, we do more playing, and our parents probably did more of the selling. But I remember us being around, having quite a bit of fun doing that, even that fundraiser. And
the world today has gotten so busy, you've got 15 different directions to go in at the same time. It's good to have somebody there from way back when, and you know, and you can trust and holler at when you need something.
Favorite memories of Scouts are the other guys that I was with that you became friends with, and certainly on those challenging campouts and hikes and things like that, you became close to people. And so my neighbors, Randy Darnbush and David Sally and Jeff Baker, we were good friends through Scouts. And then there were guys from some other schools I didn't see, you know, on a regular basis, but I saw them in Scouts. You know, you just felt like those guys had your back and they were going to take care of you, like, you know, if you got into trouble. So I really treasure those relationships.
Scouting taught me some great principles for life. Not just the law and oath have influenced the way I live, but also the people in the troop. The process of earning badges, volunteering, and teaching others has guided what I do. The scouting experience has taught me a standard by which I want to live.
Friends in school, friends in Scouts, and I'm actually, the people I still call on and depend on, even now, they're all from Scouts. There's a common thread, and it was all Scouting.
So here we are at a great milestone in our troop's journey, and we've enjoyed this night reflecting on the trails traveled. We wonder what lies ahead for us, and we look forward to welcoming new members on this journey. Tonight, as we do each week, we recommit ourselves to this journey and stand together in a brotherhood, united by 15 words that define who we are.
Scout is trustworthy.
A Scout is trustworthy.
If somebody was trusting you to take a young man and show him how to tie a clove hitch or a bowline, then they trusted you to do that job.
You tell the truth. You don't let people down.
A Scout is loyal.
A Scout is loyal. Standing up to your word, you know, sticking with friends, family.
A Scout is helpful.
A Scout is helpful.
You only go around once, and we should give back. And when we were in scouting, they said, you know, leave the campsite better than you found it. Leave this world better than you found it.
Going out of your way, being willing to put yourself second, and to help other people out, to help other people accomplish what they're trying to accomplish.
Scout is friendly. Scout is friendly.
He's a friend to all. He's fun to be around, and he's not a jerk or a bully. He doesn't leave anybody behind.
A Scout is courteous.
Scout is courteous. I think courtesy is really just like doing simple things. I mean, holding the door for somebody and just being polite.
Do a good turn daily kind of thing. It ties in with courtesy a lot.
A Scout is kind.
A Scout is kind.
A Scout is kind.
If you've got kindness in your heart, then you're going to be a kind person to all those around you. I think if you're kind, you can't be a bully.
A Scout is obedient.
Obedient, you know, means sort of doing the right thing. You got to start following what the principles of those things mean. They're not just words.
Scout is cheerful. Scout is cheerful.
Well, I'll have to say that sometimes our cheerfulness ends up in silliness. Some of those have been funny and been very cheerful, trying to bring, you know, smiles to everybody.
Scout is thrifty.
Scout is thrifty.
To me, thrifty means being able and willing to accomplish tasks, maybe not the typical way, finding atypical solutions.
Scout is brave.
Scout is brave. Overcoming your fears, and I think in Scouts, you have an opportunity to overcome, you know, a lot of childhood fears.
Scout is clean.
Cleaned of mind, body, and spirit. Do the right thing, basically.
A Scout is reverent.
Scout is reverent.
To appreciate where you've come from and where you're going, and give thanks for that, and acknowledge that you're part of something very big.
The Scout would follow God in his everyday life, not just at church, anywhere, everywhere.